Do you know what? I think if this was just a little bit longer, obviously because of the growth and that, but just mess it up a little bit, and I reckon that's all right.
You might be able to sit more close if you want to. Better?
Yeah.
Yes, oh. Fucking hell, it's clear, isn't it?
It's not too bad. I don't know. Please stop. I got this cut for my sister's.
Your hair's fucking terrible, brother.
Oh, stop it. Fuck's sake. It's not going to grow long enough for the wedding either.
You've got to wear that hat all wedding.
I'm going to have to, bro.
Mm-hmm.
If not, just the sunnies will fucking sort it out.
Crushing Napoleon's navy. Battle of Trafalgar, 1805.
Oh, that fucking... I didn't wet my whistle enough.
It didn't wet my whistle enough. Yeah, you haven't wet something in a long time.
Can we not let the viewers know, mate? Yours isn't any better.
No, but I'm not fucking ashamed about mine. You're still trying to get some. You're chatting to a bird at the moment. I'm focusing on YouTube and the fucking...
Chatting, we're friends, mate. I ain't getting anywhere. I've already put myself in the friend zone. I can tell, bro. Like that game is done. You saw the message. You saw that Sanford chat, bro.
Yeah. I know. But you're still meeting up with her and trying. Anyway,
I'm not trying anything, bro.
I'm on the grind. We're on this YouTube grind. Road to 10,000 subscribers.
Let's do this,
Do you know what I mean? Crushing Napoleon's navy, Battle of Trafalgar, 1805 by
My
History Does.
Not shit, by the way, either. Right? It's a little bit short, but I wanted a little bit more length. Right?
They just want us to jump into the video, but roast him. You should have seen my fucking reaction to it. Roast him. It's the worst thing I've ever seen.
I like it, bro.
Look at it.
I like it. We just need to get wax in it, bro.
He doesn't like it. Let's jump straight into this video. History Does. If you want to go see bonus content, extended stuff, go over to our Patreon. Links in description box down below. Like we said, road to 10,000 subscribers. Let's go.
Real quick, my ancestry traces back all over the
Oh, Jesus.
As you can tell, this is the first video of the day.
That is indeed.
We've always got the most energy. Let's go.
Real quick, my ancestry traces back all over the world, and with today's sponsor, MyHeritage, I explored my front on that and how... It was on this coast in another age that the army of Julius Caesar departed to invade Britain.
That it was.
The same ambition has called Emperor Napoleon to these shores. Across 75 miles, he's arrayed over 100,000 men, whom he writes are waiting only for a favorable wind in order to plant the Imperial Eagle on the Tower of London.
Oh.
He fucking wished.
The seas are patrolled by the Royal Navy, and the British have further blockaded much of the enemy French and Spanish fleets in harbors across Europe. Napoleon, as calculating and brave as he is brutal, devises a plan. He believes his fleets can slip the blockades in key ports, shake the British ships across the Atlantic, and sail into the English Channel to escort his invasion army.
Yeah, alright.
Yeah, alright.
Declares,
Napoleon.
Let us be masters of the Channel for 6 hours, and we are masters of the world.
Okay, I get
French
what
Vice
you're
Admiral
trying to do.
Villeneuve
Interesting. My internet connection should be absolutely fine.
Let us be masters of the channel, though, for 6 hours.
And we'll be masters of the world. Yeah.
To be masters of the channel is... That's a tall order.
For a long time we were. And we were masters of the world.
I'm not masters of the world. God, no. We are an embarrassment.
For a while we were.
Mate, we're a shit stain on this.
No, but the British Empire were
the British Empire back in the day was
and that was the time.
Glorified.
I don't know what's going on with this.
It was one of the best empires. It gave things... It took a lot of things, let's be real.
It took a hell of a lot of things. Apparently my internet connection is not secure.
Oh, no. Luckily enough for today's sponsor, VPN. Please sponsor us.
ports, shake the British ships across the Atlantic, and sail into the English Channel to escort his invasion army.
This again.
He declares, "Let us be masters of the Channel for 6 hours, and we are masters of the world."
Technical difficulties.
French Vice Admiral Villeneuve, pinned down in Toulon, breaks out with his fleet in the spring of 1805.
So he breaks out
before the British realize. The one who will chase him is the bane of the high seas himself, the dread of every French sailor. Vice Admiral Horatio Nelson.
Big up my
Nelson's heart
man.
burns a
My
fervent
man.
love of king and country, a loyalty to old England, its heroes and traditions, and also its colonial iniquities. Admired by his enemies and lionized by his countrymen, Nelson fights in an age of great bloodshed.
Come on, Nelson. What have you got for us today?
The old crowns of Europe rose to war years
usually
ago as France violently cast
support
off
Napoleon,
its monarchy.
but
And in time they faced a dictator
not today.
dressed in the language and promises of the late revolution.
Sorry, bonsoir.
Napoleon has mastered the battlefield, but Nelson has mastered the seas. It was Nelson who smashed the French fleet during Napoleon's invasion of Egypt in 1798. Nelson who
Fucking
triumphed at
saying that.
Copenhagen in
I've
1801.
touched it.
touched it.
He lost his arm
Been
in battle
there.
some years ago, and he will stop at nothing to eradicate the French fleet, earlier writing. I would willingly have half of my fleet burnt to effect their destruction. I am in a fever. God send we may find them.
Go on, Nelson.
Nelson now approaches the West Indies, where Villeneuve has been reinforced with more Spanish and French ships. Having drawn the British out, Villeneuve will not wait for further reinforcements. He darts back across the Atlantic to the Spanish coast.
Okay.
After a foggy, inconclusive skirmish against some British warships, Villeneuve receives orders from the Emperor to sail into the Channel for the invasion of England.
So he's going to go for it.
Sighting British warships, Villeneuve instead sails for Cadiz, where a British blockade promptly pins his fleet in the harbor.
Oh. So he didn't go to the Channel.
I think he got scared off.
British
Yeah.
blockades have for years deprived
Pussy.
the French of supplies and naval experience. All the while, the British have bolstered their mighty fleet, manned by both volunteers and men conscripted through oppressment. A practice
Depressed.
whereby thousands of civilians, mostly those with seafaring experience, are seized by press gangs
No,
and forced
it was
into
people
service.
in pubs, bruv.
Sons and fathers stolen away for years to come. The sailor
Peak, brother. Imagine it. Imagine just be sitting there in a pub with a beer and you just see these boys walk in and you just try and slip off to the toilet. As you get to the toilet, just a hand comes on your shoulder. You're like, can I say goodbye to my family and kids? Nah, brother. We gotta go.
Fuck them, bro. I'm gonna go pee and then I'm gonna come back. I'm jumping out the bathroom window. I'm gone. You ain't pulling me when I'm having a pint.
I don't think that would be the case, brother. I'm afraid.
been paid, trained and brutally disciplined, and imbued with the fighting naval spirit of Britain.
Yeah. You couldn't get
Power
drunk.
of the Royal Navy
No, you wouldn't be able to get
notwithstanding,
drunk.
Napoleon
But
cannot
your
carry
supplies, like
In
your
the video,
daily rations,
was alcohol.
was bare booze and that.
But yeah, if you was drunk, you got 12 lashes.
Oh mate, the biscuit, bruv.
The biscuit, just douche, douche, douche.
Oh, this is real, by the way.
Yeah.
What?
His admirals refused to engage. To the east, the Austrians and Russians have begun to marshal their armies against him. So Napoleon has the invasion camps abandoned and leads his army to war.
Okay, he's going to still go for it. You know how it goes, but let's see what happens.
Outside Cadiz, Horatio Nelson arrives in his towering HMS Victory of over 100 guns and assumes command of the British fleet.
The beautiful ship
Villeneuve
she
defies
was.
orders from Napoleon to break the blockade and sail into the Mediterranean. He will not risk battle until he learns that the Emperor has sent a vice admiral to replace him, a threat to his honor.
Oh, so he has
The
to.
morning of October 19th, the Franco-Spanish fleet sets out in the direction of Cape Trafalgar, and the British notice. Napoleon, in the midst of vanquishing the Austrian force at Ulm, still laments, "Soldiers, we should this day have been in London. We should have avenged ourselves for 6 centuries of insults and restored the freedom of the seas." Unbeknownst to him, the battle for the ocean is about to begin. The morning of the 21st, Nelson bears down on the Franco-Spanish fleet. The British are outnumbered. 27 ships of the line to 33, 17,000 men to 30,000. But the British
That
are
don't
far
matter
better
to
trained,
us.
and Nelson has long planned this day.
Yep.
Rather than line up and fire at range, which would allow his foes to escape if needed, Nelson plans to charge in 2 columns, splitting the staggered enemy line in 3 parts and allowing his gun crews to thrive in destructive chaos.
Ooh.
Nelson leads the northern column in the Victory, and Vice Admiral Collingwood leads the southern column in the Royal Sovereign.
Fucking Victory leading at the front, Jack.
Nelson was a leader.
Yeah, he was a
Wind in
leader.
their sails is faint, so the approach is a long drift. Bands play patriotic tunes, hours pass. And when every gun, rope, and sail is in place, all the men can do is wait, like beasts to the slaughter. By signal flags, Nelson relays the message. England expects that every man will do his duty.
Yep. Do you remember how many... Oh, I can't remember. On the Victory Tour, they told us how many flags and how long it took. Do you remember?
It's about 26 flags or something.
It was a lot, weren't it?
I think
it was
flags with like
yeah.
100 different combinations or something.
Yeah, it was something along those lines. I think you've got it right.
I see you. You haven't liked the video yet. Why not? Go on. Go like it. While you're at it, you know you want to subscribe. And if you want to go to our social medias, all the links you need are in the description box down below. And you might as well head over to our Patreon as well, where you can get extra bonus content if you're enjoying this. That link's in the description box down below. But we'll get straight back into the video. Love you guys.
Yeah.
Fucking mental.
Insane.
At 1,000 yards out, the French and Spanish guns heavily bombard the leading British ships. Sails tear, beams crack. Angled forward, the British lack an effective way to return fire.
You just have to fucking
Most men simply take
endure
cover.
it.
A 16-year-old English boy in his first battle sees a comrade's head shot away and writes, "My ears rang with the shrieks of the wounded and the moans of the dying." Collingwood breaks the line first and smashes a broadside into a Spanish ship. The massacre begins.
There we
In
go.
the north, Nelson's victory approaches under a barrage of several ships, including Villeneuve's French flagship and the massive Spanish Santísima Trinidad, a four-decker with 136 guns.
Ooh, big boy. It's a big boy ship, Jack.
Nelson
Yeah,
stands unflinching
scary.
on the quarterdeck. A shot smashes the wheel, from then on forcing 40 men to steer the Victory from below by verbal commands.
Yeah, we remember
Next to
that.
Nelson, Secretary Scott is blown in half by a cannonball.
Remember that?
At last, the Victory breaks the line behind Villeneuve's ship. Double and triple-shotted guns blast 1.5 tons of iron into the French stern, instantly killing and maiming hundreds of Villeneuve's crew. The Victory then comes alongside the French 74-gun Redoutable.
Touching.
Guns thunder in the choking air. Under no illusions about matching rapid British cannon fire, the French have packed their ships with infantry, who now unleash musket fire and grenades on the Victory's upper deck. A French marksman shoots down Horatio Nelson.
Yeah,
Nelson
guy.
collapses, announces that his backbone is shot through, and he's carried below decks. The crew of the shorter Redoutable then lowers the main yard and begins to board the Victory with swords, hatchets, and pistols.
Shit.
But a British ship comes to the aid of the Victory and fires a terrible broadside into the Redoutable.
Basically crippling that ship, right?
Fucking hell.
Yeah, that
Masts
ship's not
of both
lasting.
ships crash down as the cannons continue. The French decks are strewn with dripping entrails and screaming sailors.
Yeah.
The captain records 522 casualties out of a crew of just over 600.
Oh. 600, Jack. They annihilated the whole crew, basically. That broadside was nasty because all their backs were facing it as well. They weren't expecting it. That's it. And you know that captain had every single one of those cannons loaded, and he was like, wait, and then all at the same time. There was no stopping it. No stopping it at all.
So unfortunate.
Fucking hell.
With nothing on board that had not been hit by shot.
Yeah, you need to hide
In the
that
midst of
horrible
this
hair.
horrible carnage and
My ears are getting
devastation, my
cold.
splendid fellows who had not been killed kept cheering, "Long live the Emperor."
Long live the Emperor.
The battle all around has morphed into clusters of ships exchanging fire. The wounded are carried down to the dark and groaning lower decks. The surgeons saw off mangled limbs and tend to the wretched and the dying. In the belly of the Victory, Horatio Nelson has lost all feeling below his chest. Certain of his own demise, he instructs the surgeon to direct his attention to the other wounded. Nelson can hear the crew above him cheer with each enemy ship captured, and a brief visit from his friend, Captain Thomas Hardy, provides him with updates on the battle.
Remember what he said?
Yeah.
Not overboard, Hardy. It was Hardy, wasn't it?
I think he said.
Yeah.
It was.
Not overboard, Hardy. Not overboard. And he kissed him on the forehead.
As the day wears on, the British encircle and pummel their targets, while enemy ships that have turned to engage from the north make only a half-hearted attack.
Yeah.
Hardy goes down again to see Lord Nelson and informs him that victory is at hand, that the British have not lost a ship and 14 or 15 enemy vessels have surrendered. Nelson strains. That is well, but I bargained for 20. After some last words, Hardy kisses his friend on the cheek and then the forehead. God bless you, Hardy, Nelson says. And thereafter he repeats the phrase, thank God I have done my duty. Horatio Nelson dies sometime after 4 o'clock. Upon hearing of his death, British sailors and captains alike will sob openly. As the sun begins to set, a fire aboard the French ship Achille reaches the magazine.
Fuck being alive still on that.
The last bellow of the drowning ship signal the imminent end of the battle of Trafalgar. The ocean teems with splinters and sail, limbs and corpses thrown overboard, and treading survivors gasping for rescue. British dead and wounded number around 1,700, while the French and Spanish count roughly 7,000, with an equal number taken prisoner. While some have managed to flee, over half of the Franco-Spanish fleet is captured, to be taken as British prizes. The Spanish and French, both of Catholic tradition, keep all their dead on board for a proper burial on land. One 16-year-old British sailor boards the Santissima Trinidad and writes, "She had between 300 and 400 killed and wounded. Her beams were covered with blood, brains, and pieces of flesh." The French and Spanish recapture a few vessels. Several more are lost as a dark hurricane thrashes the bleeding ships for the next week. A French sailor witnesses survivors of the battle wreck against the coast. The wounded were shrieking. When the tide was out, they dragged themselves along on those limbs that were not maimed, and sought to avoid the death that they found further on. Franco-Spanish naval powers shattered, as are Napoleon's future plans of invading Britain.
Brother, it's the survivors of these battles, like, it's absolutely fucking horrendous. Like,
it's rough.
Yeah, brother, imagine like having to deal with all of that battle and then just floating on some fucking bit of wood,
You're literally using your blown off left arm to row yourself to shore.
Literally. And then you get onto shore and you've got nothing there for God knows how long.
Mate, you're dead.
Yeah, it's fucking disgusting. Long.
In England, celebration of the triumph at Trafalgar is stifled by the grave loss of the people's hero, slain in the hour of victory. The grieving public will watch the procession of Nelson's regal state funeral, an affair decorated by flags captured at Trafalgar and attended by the prisoner of war, Villeneuve.
Okay.
Villeneuve returns to France in the spring by means of a prisoner swap. Napoleon has suppressed news of the defeat at Trafalgar, but Villeneuve is nonetheless disgraced, an embarrassment to the emperor.
Yep.
Shortly after his return, Villeneuve is found dead in a hotel room. Officials point to a final note and maintain that he died by his own hand. But the cause of death is 6 stab wounds to the lung and 1 to the heart, and naturally, questions linger.
Napoleon had him killed, brother.
Oh dear.
Yeah, there's no ifs or buts about that.
Yeah, bro.
Napoleon was like, you lost my whole fleet? Pretty much my whole fleet? Go home. Goodbye.
Fuck you, bro. Oh, mate. That's so... Oh, man.
That's so
Imagine being
unfortunate.
flying a ball in that.
6
Trafalgar has inaugurated lasting British dominance over the seas, but Napoleon soon after brilliantly crushed his enemies on land at the Battle of Austerlitz and forced the final dissolution of the Holy Roman Empire.
Yep, but what happened
Napoleon
in the Battle
grows
of
in
Waterloo?
power, and the war for Europe continues.
On land you rode, supreme.
Our ancestors lived through...
On sea, you got fucking drowned.
Yeah, massively. Under the waves. Right at the bottom of the sea.
Under the sea.
Under the sea.
Down where it's wetter. You know it's better. Take it from me.
We hope you guys enjoy this. If you haven't already, head over to History Does His channel. That link's in the description box down below. If you want to go see bonus content, extended content, go over to our Patreon. That link's in the description box down below. And of course, we're on our road to 10,000 subscribers. So like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we will catch you in the next video.
Bye.